Now, does this sound familiar to you in your Spanish study? You read books, you study the grammar, you watch Spanish TV series and YouTube videos, you listen to podcasts. Yet somehow, when it comes to real communication in Spanish, you can't even form a complete sentence. Now, this happened to me almost every single day last year when I first moved here. Be it in class or outside of the class in a real life situation, I was always struggling with the right Spanish equivalent to an English expression that was in my mind. And it took me forever to conjugate a very simple word. When I talk now, I still get stuck from time to time, but I feel like I've been making great improvements. I could convey an idea in Spanish more clearly, and I can talk more smoothly as well now. As I was preparing for this video, I look back on my Spanish study this past year, during which I think I've made the most progress ever since I started learning Spanish. And I was reflecting upon things that I've done right. So it really all boils down to just one thing, and that is I've talked more and I've communicated more in Spanish in this past year. I know this sounds like a cliche to you because you must have heard this 1,000 times from 1,000 YouTubers telling you how to study a language, and the key is always to practice, practice, practice. You're probably gonna ask me if I can't even form the most basic sentences in Spanish, how am I even gonna get started? I need a starting point, right? It's not like I don't wanna practice. The thing is, I gotta squeeze something out of my mouth to start the communication, to start practicing. And that is the hardest thing to do. I totally understand you because I've been there, I've done that. So how do we solve this problem? Do I just grab a vocab book and start learning the vocab list chapter by chapter, hoping that one day my brain will just magically connect all the dots and form sentences by itself? I highly doubt it because I've tried this. I've tried to force myself to memorize all these words, only to forget 90% of them in the next week. But most importantly, even if when I still remember these words, they didn't help me get better in my Spanish output. I did recognize a few more words when I was doing reading, but I still struggle with forming a complete sentence in a conversation. And then it occurred to me that if I want to get better in communication or better express myself in Spanish, what I need is not to study the words. What I need is to study the phrases and the sentence structures. And why is it important to learn phrases, or let's just call it fixed expressions in your target language, and in this case Spanish? Because you will learn how to express yourself in the most natural way in this language instead of imposing English grammar and English speaking habits onto the language that you are learning on Spanish. For example, if you want to say, you're right. If you think in English, you probably say, eres correcto. But the most natural way to say this would be, tiene razón. So if you've never been exposed to this kind of expression, there's no way that you know that the most natural way to say this would be tiene razón. And another benefit is that it greatly reduces the thinking time when we want to say something. For example, I remember that before, whenever I wanted to say, don't be something, like don't be silly, don't be late, I was always like, okay, so in this case, it should be said instead of estar. And then this is a negative imperative, so I should use subjunctive. And then I started to search in my very shabby mind palace of that exact conjugation of ser. By the time I finally squeezed out this 3-word sentence, no seas tonta, the moment's gone, okay? And now imagine if you have no seas blah 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 memorized, and the next time you're talking, all you need to do is to switch that tonta to whatever you want to say, like no seas celosa, no seas perezosa. And now maybe you're gonna ask me, isn't it better to understand why it's said this way, or just to do large amount of reading until it naturally comes out instead of learning by rote and memorizing all these phrases and expressions and sentence structures? Well, yeah, but these two things are not mutually exclusive. You can take all the time in the world you want to understand why there's a se almost everywhere and carefully decide if you want to use a se in the next sentence you're gonna say. But at the same time, it will make your life a lot easier if you just memorize most frequently used expressions with a se, like se me acabó el café or se te cayó esto. So where and how do we learn authentic expressions like this? Of course, the best way would be to watch more Spanish videos, Spanish like TV series, to to read more in Spanish as well, Spanish news or books, I also recommend Quora. You can set the language in Spanish. What I like about Quora is that personally, I think the language used in Quora is more colloquial and there is more chance for you to encounter and use the expressions that you see in Quora in your daily life than expressions that you read from the news media. And now comes my very important announcement. When I was preparing for this video, an idea just occurred to me. I was thinking, why don't I start doing some mini videos just to share the expressions and sentence structures I've learned so that we can study together and improve our Spanish together. I'm thinking that each video would be just between 1 to 3 minutes. It would be really short. I will only share one expression each time because on some of the Spanish teaching channels that I follow, they would introduce, let's say, 5 colloquial expressions of blah 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 or 8 ways to say blah blah blah, and I feel like by the end of the video I couldn't remember anything because there were just too many expressions. So I'm thinking maybe I will just try to do one expression or maybe some very simple variation of this expression so that by the end of the video you only have this one thing in your mind but that sticks with you. So my plan is to upload maybe 2 mini videos each week, and I will do longer videos like this for just vlogs every 2 weeks maybe so that we can also see each other more often. And one thing that I couldn't stress enough is that I don't want these mini videos to be me teaching you how to say something because I am still learning Spanish myself. What I can do is to share with you guys what I've learned from native speakers or what I've learned in class. Things or expressions that baffle me, maybe you have the same doubts as well. And I want this to become like a community thing, and whenever I share an expression, I would highly encourage you guys to share in the comments below what you've learned this week or what you think would be very helpful for the whole community to learn or to know, so that we can all get better together. Alright, so that's it for today's video. I'm gonna start preparing for the expressions and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!